Alright. Hey, this video is for Joel Richardson. This is Mike Bailey from YouTube. I told you I'd be sending you some of the things I've found. And you have to forgive me. I unfortunately got sick, first time in many years, but everybody in my town's getting sick. And I was called into work yesterday, or I'd have done this yesterday, and I kind of don't feel all that great. I'm going to try to give the basic scoop of it, and then later on maybe I'll do another one, just because it's a lot of sites, a lot of information, and it'd be helpful just to have the person who put it together walk you through it. But okay, so there's basically what's called the works of the old men. A lot of people don't even know they exist, or if they do know they exist, they don't know the sheer volume and scale that these things cover. I mean, it's kind of hard to find information online about them other than the same thing over and over, but these things stretch a long distance, like here across the deserts of Syria, Jordan, southern Israel, and Saudi Arabia. And that's no joke. I've got them marked in nearly every one of those locations. Here in a minute I'm going to show you on Google Earth, and hopefully I figured out how to send the file right. I'll be able to send it to you. But some of these structures are absolutely massive, made from stone on the ground. I mean, and how far they stretch, it boggles the imagination. But on the ground they look different in many cases, but it looks something like this right here. A bunch of stones just kind of stacked together, you know. And people ask the question, why were these made? Who made them out in these barren places? And you know, I think they imagine that a small group of people made this, so to them it seems like a really amazing feat. But if we consider the Exodus, that there were many, if everybody grabbed one stone and placed it, these kind of structures wouldn't take long at all to build, in my opinion. But you can see kind of some of the structures. There's a lot of different shapes. I believe throughout that Exodus journey they built differently. It also depended on where they were and as to what they would build. Some of these glyphs here, I just got them. I was interested in them, found in Arabia. I just wanted to try to find some other glyphs done by children of Israel while they were on the Exodus. But enough of all this. I'm about to switch over to Google Earth so you can see just what I'm talking about. It took me quite a bit of time to find all these sites. I mean, I spent weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks finding all these sites. I'd come back to it when I had some free time, and unfortunately I haven't been at it in about 6 months, and you have to forgive my Google Earth. It always does this not responding when it starts. I think it's because I've just got too many place marks. But yeah, it's just amazing. On my figuring of where they crossed the Red Sea, I'm not entirely sure about it. I mean, I've convinced myself, but you know, nobody's got the corner on truth. I could be wrong. But one thing I'm sure of is that these works were most likely built by the children of Israel during their Exodus journey. It's the only plausible explanation, in my opinion. And yeah, do your own research on it. Look them up. There's a really great video I'm going to link you to. It's well, I'd go to it, but I don't want to mess up my Google Earth. Here, I'll show you this first, and then I'll show you the video. But we go on over here, and I like to leave it unchecked when I start up my Google Earth so that it doesn't bog it down too much. But you'll see right here, there's all the place marks A lot of them. These are all places I've found these structures that have been built. And I'm moving a little fast. I'll go ahead and zoom out here and show you. This is where I believe they crossed the Red Sea. And the reason I believe it is because I've found all these paths, trails leading to this enclosed area here. And I also believe, see, when they left Egypt they had a lot of flocks, a lot of them. And so the way I've been able to understand, they enclose them in these stone structures here. All that you see is man-made. It's not natural. I mean, in my imagination, I could just see all of Israel camped here with Moses, and then, of course, they crossed the Red Sea, being chased by Pharaoh's army. But, and conveniently enough, there's also a part of a land bridge here. You can see in the past, it's very possible that they could have crossed here, which would be a little different from a lot of other people's guesses. But and see, that's why I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, I have found, and the thing is it's on both sides. I'll show you here. I'll go to the other side here in a minute. But I've also found what seems like they're trails headed to this location. Trying to think where I could go to show you. And of course I'm going to send this to you. You can check it out yourself. They're kind of hard to see at first, but once you do see them, they stick out everywhere. And you kind of got to zoom in quite a bit to actually see the structures. Some of them I'm not too sure about. I actually chose a bad place to go in here. And that's why I wanted to be more ready for this video to there is a telltale way the children of Israel built here in the beginning. Not only these animal pens, but these circular structures here. And they built a lot of them. In a lot of cases, later on, like today, people use them. They put their house in them. I mean, you can only imagine if something already there, it's an infrastructure already there, why not, you know, do that? But, well, I'm going to go ahead and go show you. You can check this all out yourself. I don't want this video to take up too much time. But once we cross over here, if they were coming with all these flocks, you would imagine on the other side there would be these pins like you saw on the other side. You know, once they cross, they gotta, and that's exactly what we find. In a lot of cases, these have been used by the Saudis. Which, you know, I mean, I understand why they did it. And a lot of times the works of the old men are utilized by the Saudis. But anyways, you can come and check this all out yourself. Some of these are less, you know, I'm not sure. Some of these could be modern. Or used by the modern people. But here, let me show you, going a little further on. I noticed that these works are built along the edge of this lava flow, and I kind of mused about it. The fire by night, it kind of makes me wonder if some of this was happening ahead of them, telling them where to go, because it seems that they built along the lava flow. But here's a few of the works here. You can see long walls, little circular shapes. These little circular shapes are pretty much throughout the journey. They kind of never stop building that way. But they're all in there. I got to where I wouldn't mark them all. Like all of those are all built. All those little circles you see. And you can do your own research, see it yourself. They're all built. And I mean, that just goes to show the scale. I mean, look, they're everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. All those things you see right there, those are all built. Like that picture you saw, I showed you earlier, where the stones are stacked. That's all that is. It's stones stacked up. And areas cleared of debris. So they clear all the rocks out and make these structures here. But as you can see, I mean, they're everywhere. There's some more of them over here. You know, and these are all unmarked. I got to where if I were to mark them all, it would be, see that right there? That's not natural. That's a line built. And I mean, that's really, really, that's long. That's a third of a mile there. But anyways, let's continue. I did generally, in the beginning here, seem to find one trek that they take. Almost like they're going straight line, straight for it. This right here, this line. All these place marks you see are all works. What they call works of the old men. And they're all through here. I mean, could you imagine the number of people that could have been going through here? All those little things right there. I know they look weird. You're like, what are those? That's nothing. But it is something. All those are built, man-made. Those pins right there, man-made. Out in the middle of nowhere, mind you. All man-made. 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 They were all dwellings at one point. But let's go ahead and let's continue. Yeah, you can just about go anywhere around here and keep looking and looking and you'll find them. Sometimes they're harder to see, sometimes they're not. But all those little circle things you see there, those are all man-made. Every single one of them. Alright, but you're welcome to check this information out. Oops, you know what I forgot? I believe I don't have them all on. But let me check. I feel like they're not all appearing. Maybe they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I did skip some places. I'd go ahead and skip ahead, look for their trail later on. I mean, it got to where it was taking a really long time to establish a general sense of direction. But, like in between here and here, this gap, if you go in here and look, you'll find them. You'll find their trail. You just got to pick it up. But I went ahead and kind of did some skipping ahead. But they stretch all the way from Egypt over there, across through Saudi Arabia, all the way up into Jordan, into southern Israel, and they do change throughout. Like that, it might look natural. It's not. Here, let's continue. You can see them from quite a ways sometimes, like right there. Those aren't natural. Those were built. Same thing over here. Not natural. Those are built. Yeah, and sometimes they're more clustered together, more numerous. Sometimes they're more scattered out. But you can see they're just pretty much everywhere. And you'll see as you go on through the journey that the shapes start to change, like what looks like bullseyes here. If you go look at the research done, there's some old pilots who are going and with helicopters and visiting these things on the ground. Most of the time it's a bullseye looking thing like that. There's a big cairn in the center, which is just a big pile of rocks, and they believe they're grave markers. Most of the time that's what cairns are. And we know that many of the children of Israel did die along the journey. Sometimes there's more graves than other places. In reading the Exodus account, you find all the different camps, like the meteors. And I did find that, by the way. I can't remember where it's at. It's been 6 months since I've been messing around on here, but like here you can see them everywhere, everywhere. All those little things over here, those are all dwellings. They like to follow the edges. I noticed a lot of times they kind of follow along the edges here. There's some more. Some more up here. But you can follow their journey. I did notice when I was cataloging all these that it seems like there is one straight line, one continuous unbroken line, like here, where they were just going straight for. Like I stopped cataloging them here, but they're all in there. You got to find the path they took. But wherever you find them, like I found them here, if you keep looking, you'll find them further on. I didn't mark them. It takes a lot of time to go through and catalog all these. But DW stands for Definite Works. There's a lot of different names I chose to name these things. They really don't mean a lot. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And sometimes development destroys these things, unfortunately. Like here, I can just about guarantee that development destroyed some of them. And sometimes more than others. Sometimes, in some cases, really destroyed. Here you see some more. And also, and there is places along where there's large camps, some I'm not too sure about, like something like that, I'm just not sure. It could be something just ancient Saudi. But there are camps I've marked out here that I do believe were their camps. But I found this straight line, and then I found more scattered, like way, way far away from anywhere that should be. Way far away from the main trek. Like all the way over here, for example. When it says they wandered, they really wandered. They're kind of harder to find farther away. They're scattered out. But, and sometimes I'm not always sure. I was just looking, so I'll put something like looks like or hard to tell. But that most likely is a work. It's the keyhole shape. But yeah, when they wandered, I do believe they wandered pretty much throughout much of Saudi Arabia. I found their works pretty far away from the beaten path. Like the HK, that's the Herat Khyber region. We know they were there. For what purpose, I'm not sure. But, yeah. So, as you can see, they're everywhere. Yeah, I was interested in finding where they went around the land of Edom. And I do believe I found what would be known as ancient Edom. Let's see. See if I can find it here. Yeah, it's pretty much all this red here, if I remember right. Let me see, I believe I did mark it out. Where does it start? It's here somewhere. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I believe these over here are the mountains of Esau. and pretty much Edom is this big red corridor you see here. They had to go around. I thought I had marked it out. I guess I hadn't. But it's all here. I wish, normally I'm really enthusiastic about this. Sorry if it doesn't sound like I'm all that enthusiastic. I'm pretty sick and I don't feel good. I'm kind of dizzy and I got a lung thing. Kind of like what feels like a lung infection or something. Everybody around here's got it. I live in San Angelo, Texas, and a lot of people are sick. I went to work the other day and I'm pretty sure nearly like 80% of everybody was sick. But when I marked out large areas like that, it just means they're all in here. These works all over the place in there. If you just go down there and look, I just didn't want to mark them all out. But in a lot of cases, I do believe the Saudis utilize these works. I mean, they're just so numerous, so many, so, you know, why wouldn't they? I mean, why wouldn't they? You can see them in there. In those little, what look like, I guess, gullies. Not seeing any over here. But it can be hard to tell sometimes. Really hazy. Some of the satellite aerial photographs are good and some aren't. So it can be kind of hard to find what you're looking for. But I do believe they crossed here, went straight up into the promised land. Oop, my battery's running low. Let me plug in. And, excuse me. They didn't go into the promised land. They feared the inhabitants of the land, disbelieved in God, and turned around and for 40 years in the wilderness wandered until just the youth were left. Joshua and Caleb going into the Holy Land, but yep, it's all here. It's all there, marked in stone. I mean, what else? What other people did this who made this amazing long trek, building such structures all along? I mean, sometimes these structures are absolutely massive. Massive. Go over here and show some of the ones in Harat Khaibar. Yeah, sometimes they did just a straight line of stones with little gaps. Nobody really knows why. And sometimes they're amazed at the accuracy of the straight line. They can go over hills, valleys, and still just stay straight as can be. How it was accomplished, I'm just not sure. But, like over here, these little, what look like circular things are they're telltale. When you see those, generally there's good indication that there's more works around if you keep looking. Like over here. Can see those aren't natural, by the way. But as you can see, and sometimes you'll see these tracks, like a bunch of tracks. Now I'm not saying the children of Israel left those tracks, but it's amazing that a lot of times around these places you'll see these tracks. And out here in the desert, there's like this black soot that settles, and when something comes and disturbs it, it kind of leaves it like with these, how they're white on the inside. There's that white soil is all underneath that black soot, so that whenever you remove it, it kind of it's hard to explain, but yeah, in some of the places on these lava fields where you see their dwellings, you can actually see the trails in between their dwellings. And see, that's something I wanted to be able to find before this, and kind of know right where to go to show you these things, because there's just so much of it. But hopefully I'll be able to here in a day or two. And I got work at 4 today. Don't have a lot of I can find those things and kind of make a quick video to show you some of what I'm talking about. But they're kind of everywhere. Some places it's really hard to see them, like here. It's pretty poor aerial photography. See, it gets better over here. See if we can find. There's all kinds of unique structures. This is kind of the keyhole. Sometimes they have lines that intersect right here, sometimes they don't. A lot of times they're built on top of hills like this. For what purpose, I don't know. And they can be hard to find. You kind of gotta zoom in sometimes, and for the less obvious ones. Like that one's pretty easy to see, pretty obvious, obviously unnatural. But I mean, a lot of cases you can, there's another one over here, another one over here, another one over here. A lot of cases you can kind of zoom in and look, and eventually you'll see them. I mean, there, I'm not seeing any around here, but just keep looking, and you'll see them, you'll find them. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of times they kind of seem to inhabit these lava flows here. See, those are some more of those dwellings, circular dwellings. And they built something up here, kind of like a keyhole and a bullseye put together. Yeah, and in some cases, you can see, let me see if I can find it. You can see them from a distance, like I just saw out of the corner of my eye. There's these little ones here, little bitty ones, but they're there. Let's see. I want to find. In some cases, you can see the Saudis drive right up to them, and they're doing something there. They're digging, and they're, you know, they see the significance of these things in some cases. And, I mean, most of the time they're out, way out. Nobody goes out there, you know. I mean, it's a big job to get out to those places to even do the study and the research. But oftentimes when they're closer and able to, let's see, they'll use them. They'll appropriate them, build in them, kind of use them as an infrastructure to build new towns and such. This isn't where I was trying to show you. But yeah, like all this here, it's a good chance that it has nothing to do with Saudis building it. It was the children of Israel. But here, I digress. I want to find, I did find some sites, and I didn't always name them as such, but see, those are pretty far off the beaten path. Here we go. I think this is it. you can see the bunch of little circular dwellings, and look at all these roads that go straight to them. I mean, you can see they come from all directions going straight to it. I mean, so there's something over there of interest that is obviously attracting some attention. And it's not just there. Let's see if I can find some of the other places. Like here's some works over here. Those are all man-made. I put why because I just don't see the function, the purpose of it, but oftentimes that's the case. It's hard to find a function that it's also unnatural. And yeah, looks like they like to build where there's places where there was, I'm not sure if that's or not, but building places where there's strewn stones all over the ground, where they can just pick them up and quickly build stuff out of them. See, like I didn't have these marked, but they're very obviously not natural and part of the works of the old man. You can see the telltale dwellings, the type that's built here. And once again, it looks like they've been being visited. See all these trails, tracks to them. People are going to them, whether to admire them or look for things, I'm just not sure. But oftentimes that's the case, that there's roads to them. They're obviously known by the Saudis. I wish there could be some archaeological work done here, because there's bound to be a lot of burials. I mean, I'm not one for disturbing burials, but surely there's another way to go about it without disturbing these structures. But as you can see, they're numerous, and I mean, these are huge. I mean, for a small group of people, that would be a major feat to build these things. I mean, and the sheer number of them. But if it was a lot of people, then they're easily built. Everybody grabs a stone and lays it. You know, I mean, it shouldn't take long at all. I mean, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people could build this in, 2 or 3 days. And of course, we know that there were a lot on the Exodus. A lot of the population was possibly close to 1 million. We're not sure, but anyways, I'm kind of rambling on here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the video here. I'm not exactly sure how. I'm hoping that I did save the file correctly. It's a KNZ file. I do believe you just click on it or add it to your Google Earth. I'm not too sure about it. If it doesn't work, let me know. I'll try to figure out what I did wrong. But I'm going to go ahead and send you the file that has all of these on there, so you can go and check them out yourself and find more, and do a little research, see what I'm talking about. Another reason why I think they crossed here is because they start here. I mean, it's, don't get me wrong, there's these over here, but I do believe that was part of the wandering. And the wandering, I do believe they literally wandered all over Saudi Arabia. But I also did over here, if you'll look around at some of these sites I marked over here, I do believe I found their camps, some of their camps, more than one. There's a bunch of them. Let me see if I can write quickly. I don't want to make this video too long, but you see, that's a big area. I marked it out because there's stuff in there, but I'd have to get down in there and look. It might take a minute. I'm looking for specifically the camps I found. Let me see if I can find them real quickly. Let's see, that one needs to be explored, but let's see, hard labor there, where might be a camp. one of the things the children of Israel were doing were mining. And today, interestingly enough, these places are still mining encampments. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it must be there. If it is, this one's one of the very small ones. They're normally pretty massive. Yeah, here we go. I do believe this was a camp that they were made to serve at. You can see some of there's one of those circular, made out of stones. And you'll find a lot of the same things you find over in Saudi Arabia around here. Like they were kind of living in a similar fashion. You can see here the piles of stones. This is a bad one. I'm going to keep looking. And there's a lot of modern bulldoze going on because a lot of these areas are still active mining places. But they were also in the past. I mean, there's ancient works all around them. Also, the style that they built their animal pens in, though, over in Saudi Arabia, you can find the same thing over here. Especially the ones that look, or what they call gates. They're like a big, long rectangle. They'll start out with 3 sides, leave one of the far sides open. They'll herd the animals in there, and then they'll close that one end up. And let's see here. This is a bad example. I've got a camp, actually a couple somewhere around here. Let me try to find them. They're much bigger. There's a lot more of the ancient, but you can find them all around here. I mean, well, not all around here, but they are around. There's some more of their telltale structures, the dwellings they built. Same thing you can find over in Saudi Arabia. And you'll find them all throughout southern Egypt here. Or, well, really southern Africa, but back in the day there was North and South Africa. But yeah, all these man-made, not natural. Anyways, let me keep going. I did something here for some reason. Yeah, see, it was so long ago, I'm having trouble remembering what was the purpose of some of these things I marked out. Looks like I marked this whole area out for interest, and all this needs to be searched. But I'm trying to find something in particular, and that's what I wanted to be prepared for this video, so I could just find it before and just take you there and show you. But unfortunately, I just wanted to get this done today because I told you about it, and I don't want, to be a week after I finally sent it to you. But here's another good old mining camp. Not sure if this one's used in modern times or not. Some of them are and some of them aren't. Some of them are still actively mined with bulldozers. That's one of the ones I was mostly looking to show you. I mean, you can see the parts they destroyed and the parts that are still left that still bear the ancient structures. Maybe this is it over here. Let me see. Yeah, this one's a pretty big one. All that you see in the whole area, the ground's disturbed. I mean, we've got these kind of and I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Some of it is ancient and some of it is modern. Obviously some of it is ancient. Here's these gates I was talking to you about. Those are the ancient somehow. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe it was an ancient form of mining. Anyways, around these places you can find the ancient dwellings, the circular dwellings they built, the same ones you find over in Arabia. Here, this one's pretty. But these were large camps operated by mining camps operated by a large number of people in the past. Put it that way. But as you can see, they're just numerous as can be. Numerous as can be. There's some dwellings, not very many, but scattered here and there. And some more of the camps over here. I believe there's also dwellings all around here, built all around here, these little dwellings here. They're hard to see, the picture's not all that great, but they are there. Just search the area and you'll find them, you'll see them. Some more of this ancient mining. There's some more of the circular dwellings. There's a good example, more of the dwellings. More. Everywhere. And you'll find a lot of the same structures here that you do over in Saudi Arabia, showing that it's very likely to be the same people who built both the long stretches in Saudi Arabia and what's going on over here in southern Egypt, southern Africa. There's some more. And well, you could do your own looking, come to your own conclusions, kind of like I did, and I hope this blesses the work that you are actively doing in revealing Sinai as being in Arabia. But there's quite a bit. There's still a lot more here in Egypt that I didn't. I mean, there's a lot of it all around Egypt, and still needs to be a lot of looking done. I mean, believe it or not, it took a long time to find all of this. It took a really, really long time. But I hope this work blesses you. I'm going to go ahead and show you the videos now. This is an excellent video. It's done by, trying to remember his name, David Kennedy. He used to fly over Saudi Arabia and notice these works, and then he started looking and finding other people who'd seen them and wondered about them, and didn't know the full extent of them, or I mean, a lot of this is just really new information. I mean, people in the past had noticed, but really it wasn't until aerial photography and people flying over that they were noticed, because on the ground they can be kind of hard to notice. I mean, you notice the long walls of stacked rock, but that's about it. But yeah, I'm going to send you the links to this video and maybe another one. Let's see. You can kind of see, if you look online, Works of the Old Men in Arabia, you can find a lot of course, sometimes you'll see the same one, it's over and over, and with how many there are, it's kind of, I wonder why there's not more pictures. But there are archives you can go look at, just chocked full of these. Here's a good representation of everywhere they've been found so far. Oh wait, no, those are lava fields. Those are the Harat lava fields, which I do believe had something to do, almost like the lava was laid down before Israel. It may have even still been somehow. I'm not sure, but anyways, I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. I hope to do another video, a better one than this one. I wanted to get it out there, get it sent to you, and I hope to make another one here soon. I'm not very good at making videos, as you can tell. I'm normally stuttering and not very organized. I'm kind of a shy guy. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy, and I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Thanks for listening.